All right, to discuss, let's bring in Power the Future's Daniel Turner. Dan, it's always great to see you. And to me, I hear this, and I'm thinking about Kathy Hochul doing this. Not only is it going to drive business out of New York, which is the last thing that we need right now, but it sounds like it's something that really could be challenged in court as well. I don't know where she gets the authority to unilaterally sign an act like this, penalizing big oil without having some sort of a broader conversation. And I'm also wondering if when Trump comes into office, there's anything that he could do about things like this.
Yeah, it just shows that this is a nonsensical law that's definitely going to get challenged in the courts. Governors can't just decide that because an industry they don't like or doesn't support their reelection effort has to pay additional fees. And as we all know, even if it were upheld in the courts, companies don't pay more in fines. What they do is they charge more for the products that they make. We see this with the natural gas tax that was part of the Inflation Reduction Act at the federal level, something I'm really hoping that the administration overturns in January. We're not going to see gas companies pay more. They're just going to charge more for their product. And ultimately, it's the people who suffer by these stupid policies.
And let's face it, I know the science, but there is still a lot of science that's challenging some of the assumptions that she claims are factual, are absolutely unimpeachable facts that the climate damage is directly caused by the oil companies and the gas companies. In fact, the argument can be made that because of all of the bans, including on fracking and natural gas use, that she wants to essentially ban natural gas in New York, that could cause more climate change because if in fact coal and other more dirty fuels are used instead of natural gas.
Yeah, well, this is where the governor is just completely ignorant, and it breaks my heart because I'm originally from New York City. My whole family is still based in New York, and they're suffering under her policies. Fracking is so important that in the last election, Kamala Harris flip-flopped on it, and it's what saved the state of Pennsylvania from turning blue.
That's
and yet
right.
Governor Hochul will not reverse the ban that Governor Cuomo put on fracking in New York. Imagine what fracking would do to upstate New York economy if we were allowed to produce natural gas. When, there was a climate summit back in May and the Pope invited Kathy Hochul to go, she jumped on a jet and flew to Rome, right? She couldn't Skype in. Why? Because she loves fossil fuels. So you get really tired of these hypocrites that love the fossil fuel lifestyle, but they will use climate change as a rallying cry to either extort money from companies or to try to bring about liberal activists to do their bidding. So Hochul is just another climate hypocrite, and we're sick and tired of him.
Can we switch gears and talk about coal for a moment? Because the last 4 years really was an experiment in energy and alternative energy in some ways that was a complete debacle and failed. So we know now that we need more sources of energy than we've ever needed before. Trump is a supporter of that. He supports coal. He supports nuclear. But when you think about coal specifically, and we've got a graph here of what the consumption is around the world, China is one of the biggest consumers down at the bottom there in that salmon color. The blue, the darker blue in the middle is what the United States is consuming. I did stories, Daniel, in coal mines where they would show me the process and how they've used technology as they've used it in oil and gas to be able to make it more efficient and to make it cleaner. What is the problem with coal? Why can't we keep some of these mines in business? Remember, once again, we were just talking about putting farmers out of business in another context. You can't put these miners out of business. They have nowhere else to go. They have nothing else to do.
Absolutely. And it's a product that we are in desperate need of. And this is where, again, the environmental left is just so incredibly ignorant. China is burning a lot more coal than ever before, and they're making these stupid wind and solar and batteries and EVs, and we're buying them, and we're calling it green. We're saying, look at us, look how green we are. We're not going to burn coal in Pennsylvania. But what we're going to do is allow China to burn coal in a very destructive manner, and we're going to turn Pennsylvania farmland into these solar hellscapes to produce electricity 15% of the time and at twice the cost, right? We've had 4 years, and I'm glad you said this, Jackie. We've had 4 years of the green experiment. When was it going to work, right? Yeah. Do we need 4 more years, 12 more years, 20 years? Our electricity prices are up 30%. The price of all food, all goods and services are up 20, 30%. When was the good part of going green going to finally kick in?
And Daniel,
no one on the environmental left can answer that.
And if you don't like coal, you should love natural gas. And yet the Biden administration has this pause on LNG exports to Europe. So a lot of countries that would love to use our natural gas can't, and they go to coal instead. You only got 10 seconds. Quickly.
Exactly, and that will be reversed immediately. You can't make steel without coal. You can't make cement without coal. You can't make anything around you that you can look at right now without coal. It is vital to our economy, and the Biden administration was too dumb to realize it.
Daniel Turner, great to see you. Thank you very much, my friend. And we'll see you next time. Yeah, have a great weekend.